Well, everyone, the time has come for another episode and another review of South Park. This one was called Holiday Special, and this deals with ancestry. This deals with Christopher Columbus, Columbus Day, holidays, gay people, just like almost all the other. Okay, the episode starts with all the kids at South Park. All the kids at South Park freaking out because Columbus Day is being canceled, and it's all being canceled because Randy Stan's dead. He goes and he tells everybody that we shouldn't have to celebrate the the raping and the murderers of Christopher Columbus, and so he doesn't really know what Okay, he's getting all mad because of what Columbus did, but and he goes to the school board and he tells them that they shouldn't have to celebrate a holiday and have a day off because of the raping and all this other stuff that Christopher Columbus did and murders thousands of people. So he goes around and he starts tearing down statues and all this other stuff, and so this leads to the next day in school that everybody's ticked off because they got to go to school on Columbus Day, and they're all mad and saying, "Oh, you know what we should do? We should look up a Columbus offensive this, that, and the third thing." And Kyle's scrolling through his phone, and he's finding all this stuff about all these pictures that Randy was dressed up as Columbus. A bunch of different holidays was just dressed up as Columbus. And so he says, "Stan, can you come here a second?" And so what they do is they print off all the pictures. They print off all the pictures of Randy acting like Columbus, and he actually likes Columbus. And so what he does is he in the next scene, you see Randy looking at this DNA and me was like this 23 ancestry thing. And so what he does is he throws like this big old party, and first, before they do the swab in his mouth to see what ancestry is, he goes in the bathroom. He kisses this Indian dude, gives him $20. He kisses this Indian dude, and then that starts a little relationship between him and the Indian guy. He was just using him to get like a swab, pretend that he liked Columbus, just to get a swab of the DNA, so he could act like that he wanted to, act like he was Cherokee, so he wouldn't come off as a hypocrite. And so that puts the false sense into this, into the Indian dude, and the Indian dude's like, "I love you, Randy." And he shows up like 2 or 3 times during the episode, giving them flowers and starts singing a song and all this other stuff. And while all this is going on, you got Kyle Cartman, Stan, and Kenny. They're calling the school board guy to tell him to look on Twitter, Instagram, at all the pictures and look up for Randy Marsh. And so what Randy does is, and he's like, nah. The school board dude's like, nah, I won't do that. And then he's like, we will never use Twitter. We will never use Instagram. Sorry, I just watched this episode. It was pretty cool. And he's like, nah, we'll never use Instagram. And so what Randy does is he's trying to fight off this Indian dude because the Indian dude still thinks that they're in love together. It's crazy. It causes the whole thing. And that's what half of this episode was. And then the other half was them trying to prove that Randy isn't a hypocrite, and that then the other half is the kids. There's like 3 different stories going on. Randy's fighting off an Indian dude that thinks he's in love with him. Randy is also trying to get rid of all his Columbus stuff, make him less of a hypocrite. And the kids are mad at Randy that he was got Columbus Day canceled just because of what Columbus did in his past and all that. And so the episode's going on. What they decide to do is they decide to what. And then in the next scene we see Randy. He attacks the Indian dude, and he's dressed as Columbus. And then he looks over at the dude jogging across the street. He's like, and the dude was posting recording stuff on his phone. And Randy's like, don't you post that. And so what that does is he goes ahead and posts it anyway. And so what they do is they then the next thing we see is the kids. Kyle's, all of them, they all dress up in like these pig masks and horse masks and all this other stuff, and post a video. I don't see how they can do it from digital to VHS. But what they do is they record it on VHS, and the dude's like, no, I would never look at social media. Social media is evil. And he's like, we're posting on VHS. Oh, well, VHS is okay. And so what they do is they untie his blindfold, and they show him, and then and the next thing we see is old Randy coming in about the DNA, and he's telling the Indian dude, the buzz off, I'm not in love with you anymore. And so and then next thing we see is the DNA people. The DNA people come in and give them a swab of their test, a swab of their trying to get a swab of his spit, because he's like, Mr. Marsh, we just want to make sure that the tests are okay. And so what he does is he runs back out. He said, give me just 3 minutes. And he said, we gotta do an anal exam this time. And Randy says, give me just 3 minutes. And he was going to go out back and have the Indian dude make out with him. Randy's an idiot. I tell you that much right now. Not much. Okay, and then what we got going on next is we got episode's about to wrap up. And after they get their sample, Randy decides to break into the DNA place. And he's like, Mr. Marsh, all your DNA together makes you pretty much the equivalent of the average Colombian male, but you do have 2% Neanderthal, which is caveman, or idiot, or what is caveman. And Randy's like, I'm a Neanderthal. Yeah, y'all raped my people, y'all destroyed my people. And then he just gets rid of then he just goes in the DNA office and he runs out because he's all mad, because pretty much they just say he's a dumb Neanderthal caveman, which that's pretty much what it means. And then the last thing we see is they reinstate the Columbus Day holiday, but not just because of having a day off, but he says it should be called Indigenous Day. And everybody's like, do you even know what Indigenous means? Yeah, butthole. And then he's like, congratulations, go. And Randy just says to everybody that we shouldn't remember the second Monday in October as Columbus Day. It should now be reinstated as a day where you can just rip on everybody and do what you please and put them down and all this other stuff. And they even said, do you even know what that means? Do you even know what indigenous means? I will give you the definition of indigenous. Originating or occurring naturally in particular place or native. Yeah. So anyway, and then the episode just ends up with Randy just getting cussed out and cussed off the podium, just like any other episode. So in this episode, we found out that Randy was part Neanderthal, which if it wasn't painfully obvious, and he was also pretty much a traditional Colombian British male, and that Columbus Day should be changed to ripping on everybody day. And so yeah, anyway, that was holiday special. It was all about him trying to get trying to cover up his Randy was trying to cover up his hypocrite ways for the most part. So yeah, anyway guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I will see y'all guys in the next video.